Nil sasel sur ak kier. Hisni bemed bier. Ak shall be a gear. So, the neighbors seem to be throwing a bit of a party. My guess is that they're maybe an hour or two away from here, but the noise they make, it kind of carries. My guess these guys they're the local raiders, or at least they're one faction of them. They've occupied what I think, I'm fairly certain it's a military complex or compound or whatever. It's just on the outskirts of the city, a smattering of rectangles surrounded, but I think it's barbed wire. I caught a better look at it when it was still daylight, but right now I can barely make it out. If I squint, I can see the outer buildings of the compound, and like I say, I think it's barbed wire fencing. There's this tower up in the middle that part I can see quite clearly, whether it's day or night. It comes up maybe 4 floors higher than the other buildings. It's got a couple holes in it, but it's mostly intact. I figure that's how... Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's how the raiders always know when there are travelers coming down the road. If you give someone a good scoped weapon and tell them to keep an eye on the highway, eventually you'll see someone. But they haven't come for me yet, so I guess I must have got down the highway without being seen. I'm not really sure how I managed that. Maybe the watcher wasn't paying attention? Actually, alright, okay. Let's play a game. Let's guess, what was the watcher doing that he didn't see me when I was walking down the road, down the highway, you know? Okay, here's a thought. So the sniper grew up in the base with the other raiders. I'm willing to bet he was probably the runt of the litter, probably born to one of the dumbest chicks they had in their ranks. His mom was probably like the outer compound's bicycle. Just the outer compound. She wasn't quite good enough for the inner compound, you know? I reckon the guy's trick was just to get so many drugs and drinks in her that she didn't even notice that there's just this line of guys waiting to be inside her. She dies in childbirth, obviously. So this guy, our watcher, he grows up on the furthest reaches of the compound, probably didn't even live in the compound itself. He collects a few cardboard boxes and maybe a few sheets of metal, and he stacks it next to the barbed wire, because that's his spot. It's the only spot that they'll give him. His coat is probably just patchy, because in his sleep he rolls toward the barbed wire and it gets caught, and if he rolls away in his sleep or wakes up and tries to get away, it just rips out chunks of probably a little meat as well. So during the day, all the Raider kids go play their weird Raider kid games, ring around the corpse, duck, slaughter some innocent. I assume that's what Raider kids play. Anyway, so playing with these kids always ended up with our watcher being stabbed or kicked or having his bones broken, kid stuff. And eventually he just stops trying. Doesn't bother trying to play with the other kids, doesn't bother with trying to make friends, because doesn't really work for him. Just leads to more pain. He just sits on his own and watches them all from a distance. And that's where he gets a little idea in his head. Because as he watches them, he starts to notice things, patterns in their movements, or who spoke to whom the most. It didn't take him long to figure out, hey, this guy's got the hots for you, that person's got the hots for him, you're jealous of you. Yeah, I can kind of spot your motivations around. So suddenly, that becomes his new goal. He wants revenge on everyone who'd give him such a hard time, and he has exactly what he needs. He compiles secrets. He starts to whisper in the right ears or arrange for certain ponies to meet in dark alleys with no witnesses. Well, no witnesses except for him, of course. It really wasn't quite long before he killed the right Raider Orb. He arranged for the right death, earning him a bed in the compound itself. He was warm, comfortable, and for the first time he was a winner. But now that he slept with everyone else, he became a target. A raider, who he had sought revenge on before, came for him in the night and beat him while he slept. They struggled. They fought. The Watcher almost dies, loses an eye in the process, but he kills his attacker. My bet is he probably rips this shard of glass that had been shoved in his own left eye and runs it through his attacker's throat. He's just covered in blood. Probably gets some in his mouth. I assume he, let's say he develops a taste for blood. Actually, you know what? Let's make him a little bit more sympathetic. He gets the taste for blood, but he doesn't really want to. He doesn't like the taste of blood, doesn't understand why other raiders want the taste of blood. It's kind of gross to him. But regardless on his opinions on the taste of pony blood, this was the last time he would sleep in the compound. He returns to his barbed wire fence on the outer ring. He digs a hole around his box and fills it with spikes and glass and rebar, maybe rips out some of the barbed wire and uses it as part of his defense. He is not going to get caught off guard again. Of course, this is very odd. Raiders are paranoid. Some raiders are very, very paranoid, but I figure this was too paranoid, and it started to get attention. And word reaches the camp's boss, a thick bastard, probably more hellhound than horse. And the boss goes and investigates. He finds the Watcher, and they get to talking. And the boss realizes just how useful the Watcher's skill is, what he knows. Suddenly, he could probably keep an eye on all the other raiders, make sure that no one tries a coup d'etat against the boss. Suddenly, the Watcher becomes one of the most valuable ponies the boss has under his command. But the Watcher had other ideas what he was going to do with his station. He didn't just watch the road, and he didn't just watch the boss's enemies. He watched everyone, including the boss himself. Suddenly, he had power that no one else in the compound had. When the Watcher wasn't on duty, spotting walkers on the road and traders and lonely bureaucrats, he was flexing his blackmail around the camp. And for a time, life was good. Life was very, very good for this guy. He got the best bullets, the best stock of food, the best mares, an extra thick, double thick mattress at the top of the tower, and a blanket. He got his first choice of cigarettes. Let's be honest, that's likely what the Raiders wanted first. He got the best cigarettes. But power has its price, and the Watcher had spread himself too thin. The boss grew uneasy, fearing that a coup would be coming his way, and this time he feared that the coup would be coming from the very man he had hired to stop the coups, the Watcher himself. I love this! Now, the Watcher, the threat he posed to the boss had suddenly outgrown its usefulness, which the raider boss can't allow. So, on the day that I was walking down to the path to the camp, the Watcher was being yanked from his tower and beaten. They threw him back into his moldy box. They tied him up in the barbed wire just so that he couldn't escape. And finally, the boss decided that he was going to end the life of this Watcher. The night had fallen, and the Watcher was ripped from the barbed wire, leaving behind the last of his fur in just the rusted, jagged shards of metal. And the Watcher was taken to the tower as the drum began to beat and the ritual fires were lit. He was taken before the boss, who had the honor... Well, he had the honor of the first bite. You know, it's the one thing we all have in common here in the wasteland. Every one of us, we've all heard it before. Screams in the dark. There is nothing in this life but mist, and we are only here for a short time.